Very good evening. Some questions today we will review from the interview perspective, which relates to third-party risk management GRC and ISO 01. These are the questions which I personally has faced in a recent interviews, and I thought I should publish all these questions for you so that you guys can take the benefit. Real faced questions these are. So let's begin the session. Coming to the next slide. Question number one. How many clauses, sections, and security controls in ISO 01, latest version 22? So if we talk about the ISO 01, there are 11 clauses. What are these? Number one is, let me take a pen from here. Okay, number one is scope. Second one is normative references, terms and conditions, terms and definitions, sorry. Context of organization. Context of organization is the most important part of the ISO 01. What is context of organization? Context of organization is understand both internal and external factors that could affect the ISMS. This indirectly relates with how many are the interested parties that are sorry, how many are the interested parties that are associated with the organization that could affect the ISMS. Identify stakeholders that may have an impact on the ISMS. Define the scope of the ISMS to ensure it is appropriate for the organization needs. Very important. Clause number 5, leadership. Clause number 6, planning, support, operations, performance evaluations, improvement, continual improvement, and 11th clause is annexure A, control objectives and control. So these are the clauses. Let's discuss 11th clause, that is annexure A, control objectives and controls. So sections. Section means, they in previous to 2013 there was 114. In 2013 there was 14 controls, master controls. Okay, so in place of 14, in recent one, ISO had merged all these and displayed as only 4. Number one is people controls, organization controls, technical controls, and physical controls. See, people, technology, organization, and physical controls. Under people controls, HR resources related things are there, right? Roles and responsibilities part comes under people's control. Organization control means how the governance of organization, what is the process of risk mitigation and all. Technological controls means, like, sim, what is the process of sim, like, uh, how risk is identified in terms of risk management, right? What is the backup, what is access control, password management and all. Physical controls means, guys, physical and environmental controls and all. After this, 93 controls are in place. 93 security controls are there in place of 114 last version, that is 2013 version. 93 controls. So if I can summarize all these, 11 clauses is same as the latest one, 11 clauses. Okay, uh, 14 master controls is converted into 4 controls. These are mentioned here, and 114 114 114 controls merge into 93 controls. So this is all about the ISO 01. Next question, very important. Your client, please don't go for accuracy. Okay, your client is hosted on cloud, which With sharing multi-tenant vendors over a database, your manager had asked you to access the access control client. Access control against client, what controls you will check. See, the question is saying that, okay, your client is hosted on a cloud, okay, where a single database is accessed by multi vendors. This particular database is acting as a tenant one, okay. So anyone can take access of this database for their use. So if multiple vendors have access uh, to share this database, then there is a high chances that they could have unauthorized access over your data. So in this case, what are the controls you would check? So number one is tenant isolation. That means data segregation. What is it? Okay, tenant isolation ensures that the data of each tenant is kept separated from others. This is typically achieved by using different database schemas or logical partition at the application level. Logical partitions. Okay. How it works? Each tenant data should be isolated and separated in separate database tables or schemas, or shared database could be used with low row level security to isolate data. That means tenant isolation. Okay, example, this is a database, right? So every buckets at application layer, right? We should bifurcate all these layer. Let's suppose this is number one layer, this is number two layer, this is number three layer. So every supplier's cloud can give for use. Example number one is used for supplier A, for example, and two is allotted to supplier number B. So in this case, B cannot access one and A cannot access two. Next. Yes, next is role-based access controls. Role-based. Role-based assigns permissions to roles rather than to individual users. Vendors are assigned roles based on their responsibilities and access needs, and each role has a predefined set of permissions. Example, read, write, delete. How it works? A role like vendor A might have access to only the data related to tenant 1, and another role like B might have access to only tenant 2's data, which just I had explained. Attribute based access control, ABAC. What is it? Attribute granted access based on the user's resources and environmental conditions. It's more flexible and dynamic systems compared to RBAC. Example, access could be based on the tenant ID, so that the vendors A can have access data for tenant and vendor B can have access to tenant. Other attributes might include user role, data center, time of access, etc. That means access could be given as per their geolocations, as per the time of access, right, according to the users, according to the environmental conditions, etc. Multi-tenant data access controls, very important. Ensure that vendors are only able to access the data in their assigned tenants. In a multi-tenant setup, each vendor could assign to specific tenants a group of tenants, and access rules that are enforced at the database application to restrict access to other tenants' data. What is the benefit? Minimize the risk of tenant data leakage. Okay, data leakage means we need to install the data leakage prevention. Okay, fine grained access control. What is it? This is um, okay, just at a minor level. Okay, granular level permissions are given. Example, data access control based on the specific field or records, allowing vendors to access only certain data within a tenant. Example, in Windows we have folders, multiple folder. So we can give access to individual folders. So similarly, like this, under FGAC, fine grained access control means user to a user is provided by having access over a granular level. Example, internal files or folders is called FGAC, fine grained access controls. Next is open authorization and API access controls. What is it? Auth and API tokens are used to authenticate vendors and ensure they only access the data when authorized to use via API endpoints. Each vendor can be issued a unique OAuth tokens and API keys that are granted to specific APIs and resources on the vendor roles and tenant permissions. Means like we have RSA, right? Or any authentications part is called the authorization permissions. Okay. Audit logging and monitoring, like we have a SIM tool like ArcSight, Pure Radar algorithm, etc. Next, data encryption, very important. Encryption sensitive data both at rest and transit ensure that even if unauthorized access occurs, the data remains unreadable, very important. Sensitive tenant data is encrypted before using stored or transmitted. Sensitive data is encrypted before being stored or transmitted. Vendors can only decrypt the data if they have appropriate decryption key. Next question is, what is open authorization? So open authorization is widely used authorization framework that allows third-party applications to access resources on behalf of a user without exposing the user client like user. It is commonly used for providing secure delegated access to web services, ensuring that users can give permissions to access their data without sharing their sensitive login details. Guys, if you have any query, you can do comments. I will surely reply over your issues, concerns. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.